прощения за такую задержку, но я думаю, что наша активная работа компенсирует эту задержку. Итак, мы начинаем. Форум, как вы знаете, проводится правительством Санкт-Петербурга при поддержке Минприроды России и Министерства иностранных дел Российской Федерации, входит в план морской коллегии при... С 2000 года форум проводился в рамках исполнения обязательств Российской Федерации в Конвенции по защите морской среды Балтийского моря, 50-летие подписания которой отмечается в этом году. А мы с вами отмечаем это событие здесь, на дне Балтийского моря, в городе Кронштадте. И этот день впервые проходит в этом месте на площадке нового конгрессно-выставочного центра Музея военно-морской славы. Хотела бы сказать, что несмотря на свою долгую историю, День Балтийского моря не потерял свою значимость. По предварительным спискам регистрации мероприятий планируют принять участие более 700 человек из 7 зарубежных стран. Это страны СНГ, Казахстан, Узбекистан, Кыргызстан, Азербайджан, а также Финляндия, Греция, Мьянма и 37 городов России. Наш форум будет проходить 3 дня. Будет организовано 12 мероприятий в формате дискуссий, круглых столов и семинаров. Онлайн-трансляция пленарного заседания доступна для российских и иностранных коллег, и ссылка на эту трансляцию есть на официальном сайте форума Baltic. По итогам форума будет подготовлена итоговая резолюция, которая будет направлена в федеральные органы исполнительной власти и организации, заинтересованные стороны. И по итогам организаторами планируется издание этого сборника. В нашем заседании будут принимать участие иностранные участники, поэтому для кого необходимо владеть переводом, пожалуйста, возьмите наушники и ресиверы, чтобы можно было спокойно ознакомиться с этим выступлением. Кроме мероприятий самой программы форума, в этом выставочном центре есть возможность для вас ознакомиться с природоохранной тематикой и техникой макетов судов, работа фотохудожников Ланги и Лесуфле, а также пройти по экспозиции Музея военно-морской славы России. И также вы лично все можете принять участие в создании арт-объекта, посвященного Балтийскому морю и Балтийском экологическом диктанте, и получить сертификат о участии в этом мероприятии. В рамках третьего молодежного дня, это 18 мая, суббота, день рождения города Кронштадта, для тех, кто не знает, на берегу Балтийского залива пройдет традиционная 11-я экологическая акция «Чистый берег», где все участники смогут на практике внести свой вклад в сохранение чистого Балтийского моря. Итак, уважаемые коллеги, организационная часть закончена, и 24-й Международный экологический форум «День Балтийского моря» объявляется открытым. С приветственным словом от имени губернатора Санкт-Петербурга приглашаю к выступлению Германа Александра Викторовича, председателя Комитета по природопользованию, охране окружающей среды и обеспечению экологической безопасности.
Добрый день. Слышно? Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Еще раз приносим свои извинения за доставленное неудобство, потому что действительно сломался плазменный экран, как я полагаю. Вот. Ну, это не помешает проведению нашего форума, поэтому всем спасибо большое, что приехали к нам в Санкт-Петербург. Рад вас приветствовать в городе Кронштадт, в этом прекрасном музее морской славы. Он заработал у нас где-то год назад, и вот 24-й, скажем, 24-й форум День Балтийского моря мы решили провести здесь. Как раз, скажем так, обкатаем площадку для наших будущих форумов и конференций, которые мы будем проводить по любой экологической повестке и по вопросам, которые касаются охраны окружающей среды. Сейчас решите мне зачитать приветствие от губернатора Санкт-Петербурга Александра Дмитриевича Беглова. Дорогие друзья, рад приветствовать в Санкт-Петербурге участников, гостей и организаторов 24-го Международного экологического форума «День Балтийского моря». Более 2 десятилетий масштабный форум выступает авторитетной площадкой для обсуждения актуальных экологических вопросов. Ученые, авторитетные эксперты, представители общественности, научных кругов, государственных структур не только обмениваются мнениями, но и ищут совместные согласованные решения.
And also look for joint, coordinated solutions. And by joint effort, we can make the Baltic Sea cleaner and include the environmental situation in the Russian part, the Baltic Sea region.
Дальнейшая реализация национального проекта «Экология», инициирована президентом Российской Федерации Владимиром Владимировичем Путиным. Морская среда напрямую влияет на развитие мегаполисов портов, качество жизни и здоровья людей. Для Санкт-Петербурга, морской столицы России, вопросы защиты водных ресурсов имеют особое значение. Мы много делаем для сохранения экологического баланса Балтийского моря, в том числе в рамках действующих международных обязательств. Большое внимание уделяем оздоровлению городских водных объектов. В этом году в адресную программу очистки от поплавных загрязнений и донных отложений вошли 346 акваторий. Форум завершится молодежной экологической акцией «Чистый берег», имеющей огромное в прошлом году в ней приняли участие свыше 500 активистов.
Which last year involved over 500 activists.
Еще больше неравнодушных в чистоте родного края.
This year we hope to see even more young people caring about the environment of the native country. Signed by the governor of the city of St. Petersburg.
Большое спасибо, Александр.
Very much. On my own behalf, let me add that we are happy to welcome all of you here, and all the panel discussions on our program
обсуждаться, они имеют достаточно фундаментальное значение. Я полагаю, что зеленый возраст, наверное, из таких основных проблем, которые сейчас существуют в Санкт-Петербурге, в регионах Российской Федерации и вообще на всей планете.
In St. Petersburg and in all coastal cities.
Успехов, всем хорошей работы. Спасибо.
May I wish you also success with this forum. Thank you.
Спасибо большое и Александру Викторовичу, и Александру Дмитриевичу за теплые слова к участникам и нашему форуму в целом. Теперь позвольте мне выступить с приветствием от заместителя министра природных ресурсов и экологии Российской Федерации Анаприенко Сергея Михайловича. Я представляю это министерство. Зовут меня Третьякова Наталья Борисовна. Я сотрудник Департамента международного сотрудничества и климатических изменений.
Environmental Cooperation Department.
Участникам 24-го Международного экологического форума «День Балтийского моря». Уважаемые высокие гости, коллеги, дамы и господа. Позвольте приветствовать участников 24-го Международного экологического форума «День Балтийского моря» от имени Министерства природных ресурсов и экологии Российской Федерации. Форум с 2000 года традиционно проводится в рамках выполнения обязательств по Конвенции по защите морской среды района Балтийского моря,
under the Convention for the Protection of the Marine Environment of the Baltic Sea region signed 50 years ago. Participation in this forum confirms our adherence to preservation of the marine environment of the Baltic region, preservation of its healthy ecosystem. The tradition of expert discussion of various environmental issues is still valid. Despite all the current challenges and political situation, Russia adheres to its responsibility and continues to develop in
строгих экологических
accordance
стандартов
of the
с
most
учетом
rigid
в том числе
environmental
задач
standards,
по реализации
considering the
мер
task of
обновленного плана
implementation
действий по
of the
Балтийскому морю
renewed
в рамках
Baltic
Комиссии
Sea
по
Action
защите
Plan
морской среды
under the
Балтийского
Commission for
моря,
Marine Environment Preservation,
которое вы знаете под
as
именем Хелком.
known to
России
you, perhaps as
высоко
HELCOM.
оценивает
The Ministry of
инициированный
Environment of the
Санкт-Петербургом в
Russian
прошлом году
Federation has highly
на полях этого
esteemed
форума
the
проект по
project for
сохранению и
conservation
восстановлению
and
Балтийской
restoration
водной
of the
системы,
Baltic water
что
system
является в том
initiated in
числе
St. Petersburg
адаптацией
last
подхода
year,
от источника
which
к морю
adapts the
и
approach from
реализацией
source to the
водных
sea
целей
and
устойчивого
implementation
развития
of the
повестки
Sustainable
ООН 2030.
Development Plan of
Служит для
UN
разработки
2030
индивидуальных
and
мер
serves to
по
develop
снижению
individual
нагрузки на
measures
морскую среду
to
Балтийского моря.
decrease load on
На
the marine
площадке
environment of
форума
the Baltic Sea.
продолжается традиция экспертного
The
обсуждения
expert
актуальных вопросов
discussion at the
для
forum
поиска
and
совместных решений.
search
Так,
for
сегодня
joint
научное
solutions
сообщество
is
сможет
still
представить
on,
итоги
and today the
мониторинга морской
scientific
среды
community
российской части
can
водосборного
present
бассейна Балтийского
results of
моря.
monitoring the marine
Обсудит
environment
реализацию
of the
субъектами
Russian
Российской
part of
Федерации
the water
региональной
system of the
составляющего
Baltic Sea.
федерального проекта «Национальный
Government
проект
agencies
Балтика»,
will be able to
направленного
discuss
на сохранение и
implementation
оздоровление
of
водных ресурсов,
regional components
влияние
of federal
климатических
project of the
изменений
national
на
project
гидрографическую
ecology
городскую
aimed at
сеть и
conservation
лучшие
of the
практики
water
рассмотрят на
resources and the
семинаре
impact of
по
climate
сохранению
change and best
водных
practices will be
запасов.
discussed at the
Молодежный
seminar
день
on
форума
conservation
состоится
of the
акцией
water
«Чистый
green
берег», рамках
framework.
которого на
During
протяжении
the
ряда лет
Youth Day
проводятся
of the
мониторинг
forum,
морского
Clean
русла.
Coast
А это также
action will
вклад в
be
реализацию
held,
регионального
which will
плана
also
действий
contribute
Хелком по
to the
морскому
regional
руслу.
HELCOM plan on
Уверен, что форум «День
marine litter.
Балтийского моря»
I'm
остается
positive that a
эффективной
Baltic Sea Day
площадкой для
Forum
открытых
will
диалогов
remain an
по всем
efficient platform
аспектам
for open
актуальных проблем
discussion
балтийских
of the
ученых,
entire range of
представителей
issues
государственных органов
with which
управления и
scientists, government
неправительственных
officials, and
организаций.
NGOs are
Этот
concerned
диалог на
today. This
высокопрофессиональном
discussion on a
уровне
high
способствует
professional level
разработке решений
will contribute
насущных
to
проблем
development
и
of
установлению новых правовых
solutions
стандартов между
and
участниками.
establishing new
Сергей
contacts
Николаевич.
between the participants, signed by Sergei Anaprienko. Thank you.
Спасибо большое за внимание
Thank you.
От моего имени.
On
Спасибо.
my behalf,
Теперь я бы хотела
now
попросить уже
I would
представителя
like
Министерства
to
иностранных дел
invite the
Российской Федерации
representative of the
выступить
Foreign
и
Ministry, Russian
пригласила бы
Federation,
для
to
этого
speak.
Колесникова Андрея
And I'd like
Леонидовича,
to give the floor to
заместителя
Andrei
директора Второго
Kolesnikov, Deputy
Европейского
Director
департамента этого
of the
министерства. Он
Second
выступает
European
онлайн.
Department of
Надеюсь, что
of the
мы его
Ministry.
все видим. Да, теперь мы вас
He'll
видим.
address
Пожалуйста,
us
Андрей
online.
Леонидович.
Hopefully, we will all be able to see him. Well, good morning. Welcome,
Слышно
everybody.
не
Can you
очень
hear
хорошо.
me?
Если
Yes?
бы вы говорили чуть громче, может
And we
быть,
could
этого нам
maybe
помогло.
hear you even better if you could speak up a little bit.
Да,
Okay,
да,
is this
хорошо.
better? Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Dear colleagues, thank you for inviting me. Indeed, this is a very important event, highly relevant. The Baltic Sea is among the priorities of our state, according to the Foreign Policy Concept renewed in 2023. Environmental sustainability in the North will ensure favorable conditions for our development, and we still are committed to peaceful resolution of the issues. So this explains our actions in the region. Working at the second European department, department for action in the Arctic was established this April, so very recently. So the current position of NATO states had a negative impact on international cooperation in northern latitudes. Some important mechanisms got lost, and so Russia withdrew from the Barents and Arctic Sea councils, and the Nordic Council of Ministers is no longer active, considering the fact that Finland and Sweden joined NATO. Now Russia is the only state is not a member of NATO, and unfortunately, so many contacts been cancelled scientific research and conservation of indigenous peoples are now in danger. The HELCOM is no longer working to its full capacity to preserve the marine environment in the Baltic Sea region and violated its key consensus principles. In Riga, without Russia, the ministry conference of HELCOM was held in which Russia was not invited, and official statements confirm a lack of interaction. And so that's the participants there confirm that this strategic position, our initiative to resume HELCOM Commission, has been ignored. And but participants, we are also concerned with the growing activity of some European states to salvage chemical weapons in the Baltic Sea from the time of World War II. So we believe that such actions should be coordinated with Russian Federation. Uncoordinated actions and the attempt to get NATO or a Baltic Council of Ministers involved can result in grievous consequences for the entire region. In this situation, we need to reset our cooperation in the Baltic Arctic region, to resume our cooperation and develop new mechanisms to involve regional governments. And regional authorities can be the leaders of this initiative. So this forum is an excellent platform for discussion where infrastructure, economic, cultural, environmental, and other issues can be discussed, as well as establishing academic contacts, analysis of the Greater North region, including subjects of the Northwestern region, and positively minded Western partners. The forum includes various activities. On the 23rd and 24th of April this year, an international congress is dedicated to the 300th anniversary of Manin Kant, dedicated to cooperation in the Baltic environment. And once again, I congratulate the participants and wish you lots of success with this forum. Thank you. Thank you, Andrei Leonidovich. Of course, the Baltic Sea region is extremely important and the situation is challenging, but the Baltic Sea is still ours and we should continue our work. Now, I would like to give the floor on behalf of Ministry of Emergency of the Russian Federation, representative of General Directorate for St. Petersburg, Igor Titinok, Deputy Head of St. Petersburg Directorate. Welcome, Igor Valerievich. Good morning, dear participants and guests. On behalf of the Ministry of Emergency and the General Directorate in St. Petersburg, would like to sincerely welcome all the participants of the 24th International Environmental Forum, the Baltic Sea Day. Issues of environment protection and environmental safety will always be relevant to us since they determine sustainable functioning of our society, and that has impact on our economy, our health, and life standards, the life of millions of people. At this forum, experts, scientists, and officials, different regions get together. Dear colleagues, only together, by joint effort, we can ensure the necessary results. On our behalf, we are happy to initiate any positive initiative. We are open to consider all the joint projects. We're open for discussion, open for cooperation, and we may not only come to your rescue in case of emergency, but we are ready, together with you, address environmental safety issues. Dear friends, I wish all of you successful work at this forum, and I'm positive that together we'll be able to develop the necessary algorithm, the necessary approaches. We'll find new, innovative solutions and ways to make progress together, and that way we will make our own contribution to ensuring environmental safety. Thank you. Thank you, Igor Valerievich. And of course, emergencies and prevention of emergencies is an important part of our work. Now, I'd like to give the floor to the head of Northwestern Environmental Supervision to address. Welcome, Mikhail Yurevich. Good morning, dear colleagues and friends. Svetlana Gennadievna Rodionova wanted to say hello to all of you, and let me give you greetings. And as our leader says, water is new oil, the oil of today, and we monitoring closely water management and water consumption, and special attention is paid to marine areas. We keep it under our constant supervision, and today we have so many construction sites in the area. The new ports as category 1 objects which are under our supervision. And we run constant checks, and not all the contractors are following the requirements, but I'm happy to say that most contractors are very conscientious, especially concerned with utility companies. And we all know that St. Petersburg hosts taken many measures to treat wastewater. And this work we should continue, and because we cannot waste time here, and we should address this issue. We have a very unfortunate example in Kaliningrad, where some grievous violations took place. So the scope of damage is really huge, and so of course, similar to the Norilsk incident, and the threat with which we must deal, of course, is very serious. And so with the violations, our agency has to, so we have to continue working on legislation. And so the forum is a platform where we could discuss sustainable development in the region and come up with suggestions to improve the environmental situation in the Baltic Sea region. And let me wish you lots of success. If needed, our participants, our experts will participate in all the panel discussions, which will contribute to good dialogue and good resolutions. Thank you. Thank you, Mikhail Yurevich. Of course, we hope for your participation and your expert participation in all the panel discussions. And many thanks to Ms. Rodionova for her active support to our forum. Next, according to our forum, I'd like to give the floor to Alexei Makarov, Chairman of the Environment and Natural Resource Management Commission of Legislative Gathering of St. Petersburg. Welcome, Alexei Alexeyevich. Dear colleagues, good morning. I'm happy to welcome you on behalf of the Legislative Assembly of St. Petersburg, and my colleagues are with me today, and I have the honors mission to read welcome address on behalf of the chairman, Alexander Belsky. dear friends, on behalf of Legislative Assembly of St. Petersburg, let me welcome you to the opening ceremony of the 24th Environmental Forum, the Baltic Sea Day. Seas have always been important to humankind, and today the Baltic Sea as a trade, passenger, transportation, and at the same time, it's a fragile ecosystem which today is subject to various threats. And it's so good to see that here in St. Petersburg, a mega city on the Baltic Sea coast, we have this forum, which is a platform for discussion of relevant issues and challenges. The forum provides an opportunity for scientists and officials to coordinate their effort and plan future actions to preserve this unique water body. It's also good to see students here whose future profession is to protect the environment. Dear friends, may we wish you good luck and success with your noble effort. Chairman of the Legislative Assembly of St. Petersburg, Alexander Belsky. Thank you. Thank you, Alexei Alexeyevich, and we're also very grateful to Alexander Nikolaevich for such kind words and attention to our forum. And now, let me ask Ruslan Magyar, Senior Advisor of Environment Protection Procurator Office, to speak and welcome the participants. Good morning, dear participants. On behalf of the Prosecutor's Office, I'm happy to welcome you here, and in our opinion, such forums are invaluable platforms to share experience in environment protection and an efficient tool to address tasks we encounter. And let me join the ideas mentioned by my colleagues as here, where we're all working together in in cooperation with environment management and protection agencies, fishery department, and we keep sharing information, and we're always happy to get feedback from you, the participants of this forum. And so here is possible to ask any questions to me and my colleagues, and I'm absolutely sure that this work, among other things, will aim to prevent violations. So we come across violations daily. We have to deal with violations to compensate damages and damage to the environment. But our primary task, of course, is prevention. And our joint effort and of all the stakeholders, including businesses and NGOs, is to allow the city to develop harmoniously. Thank you very much again. Thank you, Rustam Agmamedovich. Of course, we should all follow that all the standards and regulations are duly met in our life, and we should all follow the law in our work. Now, I would like once again Alexander German to present the address of the first chairman of the government of Russian Federation, head of the Marine Collegiate of the government of Russian Federation, Denis Manturov. Welcome, Alexander Viktorovich. So welcome address to the participants and organizers of the 24th Environmental Forum, the Baltic Sea Day. Dear friends, on behalf of the Marine Collegiate of the government of the Russian Federation, I'm happy to greet the participants, guests, and organizers of the 24th Environmental Forum, the Baltic Sea Day. The task to address the issues of research, conservation, development of sea transport is highly relevant to us. And the forum and resolutions will certainly contribute to ensure the marine policy of the Russian Federation. I'm absolutely positive that effort of forum participants will contribute to promotion of the national maritime policy and contribute to clever water resource management and conservation, and address utilization of sunk vessels. And let me wish lots of success and good sharing of experience and information to the participants. That will strengthen the marine potential of the Russian Federation. First Deputy Chairman of the Government of the Russian Federation, Denis Manturov. Thank you. Thank you, Alexander Viktorovich. Thank you. Many thanks to Denis Manturov for his attention. And at that, the opening ceremony is over, and let us start the plenary session. The forum, as you know, remains a platform to involve Russian Federation in its obligations under Helsinki Convention. And here we have the opportunity to discuss environmental agenda of HELCOM. And because of that, I would like to present the results of a third complex assessment, HOLOS 3, which was concluded in 2023, so don't be scared by this name, HOLOS 3, which is a complex assessment of the Baltic Sea conditions. So we use this abbreviation for convenience. I have to use this microphone. Don't know if you can see the presentation, my slides. I hope it will work. Well, so the Baltic Sea state and modern challenges. So what is this report about, the so-called HOLOS 3? As you know, a renewed Baltic Sea Action Plan was adopted in 2021 by all participants of Helsinki Convention, and it includes measures for preservation of the marine environment. HELCOM provides complex assessment of the marine environment every 6 years, and the ultimate goal of this assessment is to analyze the results of the action plan. The third complex assessment of the Baltic Sea condition was based on data from 2016 to 2021, and joint report is based on assessments done within the framework of HOLOS 3. So the paragraph includes 5 assessments: biodiversity extrication, hazardous substances, sea litter, spatial distribution of impact on the marine environment, and economic and social analysis. I will not go into economic analysis in my presentation. That's outside the scope of our discussion. Those interested professionally, so this information is available at Helsinki Commission webpage. So this report, this assessment, is based on 59 indicators, 42 key indicators, which have targeted values that can be assessed, and 17 additional indicators. Most of the indicators were dedicated to biodiversity, and the second section on hazardous substances, invasive species, and sea litter. And as you can see, all the indicators used are shown in this slide. If we take a look at the map, As you can see, the color red means bad, the situation is bad, concerning, and the Baltic Sea biodiversity is red. So here you may see environmental, communities, coastal fish, seabirds, and sea mammals. Unfortunately, the situation is alarming in all the communities, in all sub-basins. With the exception of northern basins, where the situation is bad. If we talk about fishes, as only the status is only good in few species. Same is true about seabirds. So the status is also poor. Sea mammal, the state is unsatisfactory throughout the entire basin. So here, all the details are available in the presentation. They should be available to all the participants later. So what? So could you please go back? So what conclusions can we make on biodiversity? So we presented the conclusions already. Let's proceed to contamination with hazardous substances, invasive species. Hazardous substances. Most of the Baltic Sea has poor or unsatisfactory status, unfortunately. Yet, we may see trends on declining concentrations of some hazardous substances, sea litter. So what can we see here? 11 of 16 sub-basins have unsatisfactory status for sea litter. Sea noise level exceeds the limit for 9 out of 16 assessed fish species. Invasive species, as you can see in this diagram, the trend is upwards. It has leveled in recent years, but as you can see, the situation of this indicator is still challenging. The eutrophication level. As you can see, the Baltic Sea is also all marked in red, most of the sea, which indicates that the level of eutrophication is fairly high. And here, I'd like to draw your attention to the condition of the key indicators of eutrophication in sub-basins of the Baltic Sea. So here, see lots of red circles, some blue circles, and even some white circles. So what are the reasons for a good condition in the Danish Straits? That's because in this part of the Baltic Sea, so there's intense water exchange with the Atlantic water. As you can see, as you know, the Baltic Sea water exchange is very slow, and water exchange is slow, and that, of course, has an impact on eutrophication level in the Baltic Sea. So let's discuss about biogenes. Biogenes, these are substances, and let's discuss the key ones, such as nitrogen. As you can see in the diagram, and if you look at the numbers, in general, the Baltic Sea is mostly red. For this indicator, it's the Gulf of Bothnia, and this indication, we've reached the desired target. And nitrogen level exceeds a maximum value by 11%, and over the past years, unfortunately, we have not made any progress with this. Another indicator of biogene is phosphorus. As you can see, phosphorus is also for Baltic Sea is quite high. Yes, we have seen some improvements in the Danish Straits and the Sea of Bothnia. So, as you know, this is connected with the use of phosphorus in this region and with the water exchange with the Atlantic Ocean. So what can be said here is 24%. So we exceed maximum phosphorus level by 24%, and so there's no progress, and these observations were started in 1990s. So that's a really long story for this indicator. Some words on the distribution of the cumulative impact and damage to this marine environment. Cumulative impact, of course, means all the evaluated factors, and so here I'd like to show you the map, cumulative. On this diagram, and unlike previous cumulative
опасных веществ, но это не значит, что опасных веществ стало больше, просто знаний при оценке этого показателя у нас с вами стало больше, наука двигается вперед, и у нас есть больше понимания, какие вещества и методы скрининга, и по этому показателю, в частности, была проведена оценка и скрининг по широкому спектру практически 600 веществ. Поэтому в этом аспекте, в кумулятивном воздействии, это очевидно. Если мы говорим о распространении, пространственном распространении кумулятивного ущерба Балтийскому морю или экосистеме Балтийского моря, мы здесь говорим о том, как компоненты экосистемы, а именно 57 видов флоры и фауны и место их обитания, отреагировали на эту оценку.
Reacted to this assessment.
Небольшой,
small, the greatest. The damage is relatively small, but the cumulative damage is repeated, as you can see, registered the Åland Islands and in the south and southwestern part of the Baltic Sea, including the Danish Straits.
Каковы же основные выводы ХОЛОС-3? Балтийское море продолжает испытывать растущее воздействие в связи с изменением климата и деградацией биоразнообразия, которые катализируются эвтрофикацией, загрязнением, активным землепользованием и добычей ресурсов. Небольшое улучшение состояния морской среды наблюдалось в период третьей оценки за 16-21 год. И меры по снижению воздействия на Балтийское море, как мы видим, все-таки работают. В случае выполнения всех договоренностей, в том числе задач, которые отражены в обновленном плане действий по Балтийскому морю и являются актуальными на сегодняшний день. Ожидается, что в будущем последствия это приведет к увеличению потребностей в мерах по повышению устойчивости экосистемы, смягчению негативных последствий. И, как я уже говорила, знание состояния экосистемы Балтийского
Baltic Sea, regional, or have improved considerably in the past 6 years. And indeed, as a result, a renewed Baltic Sea Action Plan and introduction of the ecosystem holistic approach, minimization of the climate risks. These are the key fields of health-com activity for the future. We know what our tasks are, and so what are the new challenges. And our work, so Russia as a participant of Helsinki Convention, is to implement the updated action plan and to improve the condition in the Baltic Sea. The third complex assessment summarizes most advanced knowledge and emphasizes the importance of measures to prevent biodiversity. To achieve a healthy ecosystem in the Baltic Sea, we need to reduce anthropogenic load and preserve the environment of species to ensure sustainable development in the region. It is necessary to equip our ecosystem with the possibility to oppose climate change and mitigate consequences of climate change. And the main task of Helsinki Commission is to introduce a system on the basis of available knowledge, strengthen sustainability of the Baltic Sea by cooperation at national, regional, and global levels. Thank you for your attention. Whoever has questions or want more details, so the report is available at Helsinki Commission official website. Thank you for your attention. Now, let's learn about the measures to ensure environmental safety in the Baltic Sea region. And let me give the floor to Valery Taranuha, Deputy Director of the Baltic branch of SPAS Service of Ministry of Transport of Russia. Good morning, dear participants. Let me pass the words of welcome from our management and explain what the Maritime Rescue Service of the Baltic Sea is. And unfortunately, not all of you can see the slides. So we would like to show you the vessels that our rescue service has. So the rescue service is an agency that provides assistance to crews of various vessels at sea. But the primary task is to eliminate oil spills. Why is that? Because any vessel at sea has some amount of petroleum products, and any accident, no matter what happens on board, is a threat of contamination. So on all our rescue vessels, one of their priority tasks is to eliminate oil spills. So how can we do that? So we have nine divisions. Kamchatka division, Primorsky, Sakhalin, the Northern division in Murmansk. The Baltic Sea, we have the Baltic division, Kaliningrad division, and the Black Sea in Novorossiysk, Azov, and Black Sea division. On this map you can see that we don't work independently. We cooperate with port authorities. They act as coordinators of all rescue efforts, and so the authority at each port is a center which collects all the information. Here in St. Petersburg, we have a St. Petersburg Center. There's Marine Rescue Coordination Center in Kaliningrad, and in Moscow, where our head office is, the principal Marine Rescue and Coordination Center is located. So the entire system works very well, and we can immediately share messages and follow what's happening in each region. So our monitoring service and all the managers, they have access to this software and to this information. And any time, round the clock, during holidays, weekdays, we have the information as to what measures are necessary. So Norilsk was mentioned already today, but Marine Rescue Service was the first one to react. And immediately, Ministry of Emergencies and other organizations, they immediately became involved, and no matter what's happening and what kind of accidents we have, we are always ready to deal with it. So here, on this map, you may see location of these our rescue centers. So our vessels. So we have specially equipped vessels, the multi-function rescue vessels, and each vessel is equipped with skimmers. Some may be not very familiar with the names. So specially designed. So the ships are specially designed, for example, to collect oil spills. As an example, here you may see an example of a multi-functional vessel, Baltica. You may see that we have two vessels of Murma type. Also, we have vessels tested. We test our vessels almost every month. We run exercises, and I would like to inform you that with port authorities, we run joint exercise every year, which involves port authorities, emergency center, rescue center, Ministry of Emergency, border guard authority, customs authority, military rescue services, and our marine rescue service. In recent years, we started cooperating with aviation services, and so this provides excellent opportunity for cooperation. As a result of this exercise, we all know each other, we have each other contacts, and we can reach various agencies easily. Let me show you more vessels that we have. And with my presentation, my goal is to tell you about the prospects. In addition to vessels, we can also work underwater. So in this slide, you may see that we now started construction of vessels, new vessels. You may see in this slide. So the construction is now over, and vessels will be commissioned shortly. We work together with rescue aviation services and in harsh weather delivery of rescue teams by aircraft of course, is much faster in the case of an oil spill, for example. So we can deliver rescue teams and equipment very quickly by air. We have lots of equipment to gather oil spills and manage oil spills. If anybody is interested, we have a website, Marine Rescue Service. You may visit our website, and there you'll see our facilities and equipment. And in recent years, we started to develop, as you can see in the slide. Now we can, in 3D, we can produce 3D models of the seabed. So that's also very important for rescue work. And in this slide, you may see how our software can produce 3D models, where before we actually had to send divers. And now this equipment helps us a lot. So now we started to use drones. Our rescue team can use drones to gather information about and make decision on future actions. Lots of attention is paid. So we pay lots of attention to unmanned underwater equipment. On Nord Stream, for example, we use them. And we gathered lots of experience in this field as well. In this slide, you may see photos of some of the equipment we are using. So we have some unmanned devices we can use not only to gather information, but also to move objects. So we don't need to employ divers anymore. And let me talk to you about our diver service. So the same department, the same agency, departments, and as equipment, all our divisions are fitted with the latest equipment. And let me tell you briefly about our actions. Perhaps you saw on television 2 container vessels. Got on the shoal. And you know, we found so this ridge under this vessel, and if we try to get the ship off the shoal, so here you may see the vessel, and that was during the winter. So we used equipment to see an obstacle that can damage the ship. So that was very important to us. And so we, to unshoal the ship, we had to be very careful. We didn't want to damage the ship, and that would lead to an oil spill. And so we managed to unshoal the vessels successfully. But so that could be a threat and result in an environmental disaster if we damaged these container ships. And in conclusion of my report, let me tell you, if anybody is interested, and which maybe some of you were not able to see, so the presentation is available from the organizers, and you may copy it and watch it later. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Valery Evgenievich. It's very interesting what you said and very important. And so we always work closely together with Ministry of Transport, marine rescue agencies, and so on. Now, let me give the floor to our foreign participant, Uli Klotzer. She is the head of the International Global Women for Peace Union. Хорошо. Global Women for Peace.
Мы вас, надеюсь, услышим. Пожалуйста, вам слово.
The floor is yours. Да. Спасибо, мы вас видим. Пожалуйста, вам слово. Пожалуйста, поделитесь своим видением. Других чрезвычайно плодотворных конференциях, мероприятиях в Санкт-Петербурге. И с большой горечью я вынуждена сказать вам, что с тех пор, как Финляндия начала переговоры о вступлении в НАТО, и Швецию вынудили сделать тоже, и с тех пор мы в настоящее время. С глубокой горечью я должна сказать, что Финляндия закрыла границу с Россией, прекратила сообщение железнодорожное с Петербургом и Москвой. Это имеет чрезвычайно негативные последствия, крайне отрицательно влияет на дружбу и взаимопонимание. В 2014 году я была в Новгороде, Санкт-Петербурге, Выборге, Шлиссельбурге с 22 студентами. Им всем было по 14 лет. И нам очень понравилась российская культура. Именно так следует строить взаимопонимание и развивать сотрудничество. Сейчас поразительное наследие, российская культура стали недоступны гражданам западных стран. Это крайне негативно сказывается на наше сотрудничество. Но
sustainable development and dialogue, and for the well-being of our common Baltic will still be raised. We need models for a sustainable development for the shores and waters of the Baltic Sea. Marine spatial planning and the Espoo Convention on Environmental Impact Assessment in a transboundary context are a good basis for restoring and strengthening urgently needed cooperation. Our Common Environmental Conference in St. Petersburg 1992 must be repeated on a NGO and ecological expertise level, and we must purposefully work for a dialogue about our common problems, also on a higher decision level in the whole Baltic Sea region. Finally, it is great to learn from the program of this conference that the green agenda of BRICS is on the program. This is an extraordinary new example of ways to solve environmental problems on an international level. And it gives me a glimpse of hope for our common planet. Thank you for listening to this Baltic Sea citizen to citizens message. I wish you all the best for your conference. Spasiba.
in the region. And of course, we gaining new knowledge and we should work together, make progress together. And there is a number of foreign conventions of which Russian Federation is no longer a member, such as Espoo Convention that you mentioned. But the Russian Federation voluntarily adheres to this convention and assesses impact of this convention of anthropogenic activities, but unfortunately the explosion of that pipeline had a negative impact on the Baltic Sea environment, and so this issue is still discussed and on a very high level, all the way to UN Security Council. So this issue is not relevant to the region, but to the entire world. Спасибо за ваш вклад. Мы были рады видеть вас и слышать вас. And now we'll proceed to the next speaker. And so you'll learn about the prospects of regional cooperation in the Northwestern Federal Region in the context of achieving goals of Sustainable Development UN 2030 Agenda. And our speaker is Daria Akutina, who for Sustainable Development Northern, Greater North. And before that, before this office, since 2016, Daria Vladimirovna was the director of Department of Secretariat of the Baltic Sea Council the organization well familiar to you, and her mission, her mandate was also about sustainable development. Dear Chairman, Chair Lady, in my presentation, dear participants, I'd like to talk about the experience of cooperation in the Baltic Sea region and possible use of this experience and prospects in challenging times. And yet, I'd like to join the previous speaker. The sea is common. We cannot stop the flow of air, the flow of water, and of course we should continue our work to achieve goals of sustainable development and to ensure development of in the region. And just like the previous speaker, I hope that at least some of my slides will be visible to some of you, and I will try to explain what's in my slides as well. We all know that in 2015, UN states adopted a resolution on sustainable development up to 2030, which included 17 goals and a 15-year plan to achieve these goals. And here I should mention that the Baltic Sea region was the first one to discuss localization of UN plan and adopting the action plan to the needs of a specific region. In 2017, as you can see, references to documents and collections of articles. So if anybody is interested, I'll be happy to share. In Reykjavik, a document was adopted, implementation of vision and action plan in the Baltic region up to 2030. And the Baltic 2030, 6 key areas were identified for our region as where we should concentrate our effort. And for that, we will involve government structures, NGOs, and experts, universities, and NGOs to implement the plan. And already, this Baltic 2030 bumps on the road, as literally, so which sounds funny in English, but we identify the most vulnerable goals of sustainable development. We found 5 such goals that you may see in my slide, and I'd like to draw your attention to goal 12, which is the most difficult one to achieve, on sustainable production and consumption, the goal which often contradicts with environmental goals and social goals. So these are the goals to which we should pay special attention. And in 2021, this report was reviewed with involvement of Russian Agency for Statistics, and we also, our colleagues from Belarus also contributed. And we should know that Russia and Belarus voluntarily provide reports to UN on sustainable goal achievement, and there are other. So also in this slide you may see various guides various guides. There's a guide localizing sustainable development, which the global agenda is very specific, very relevant for cities, even small settlements. So as always, it deals with including sustainable development goals in local budgets. And there was another section on climate change, how to approach climate change in a comprehensive manner, to disseminate knowledge and like what climate means for each person and how each person can contribute to adaptation or prevention of negative impact in the future. So all these guides, all these manuals were translated into Russian, and representatives of northwestern region of Russia took active part in creation of these documents, and without their expertise, without their contribution, we won't be able to produce such high-quality documents. So we own these documents, and they can be used by the Russian participants. In 2021, another interesting program was implemented, which was initiated in 2019 on Strategy Forum in St. Petersburg, where we decided to develop a program where we could produce common action and common action plans for countries in the region, and we call this program Neighbors. And our goal was, the goal of the program was to develop common action plan, so in 6 areas. And so these areas are quite obvious, but marine transport, and it includes culture, education, labor, environment. I have not included any diagrams or graphs in my presentation, but culture and environment occupy the leading positions and were of greatest interest to the participants. In here, I can repeat what was said by the head of the second department, European Department of Foreign Ministry, on friendly actions of some of the Baltic states put on hold our process of interaction and cooperation and sustainable development of the region. This traditional partner connections have been destroyed, as mentioned by our colleague from Finland. So the Baltic Sea, which was always seen as a joining factor, now appears to be a factor of alienation. And emotionally, politically, unfortunately, so we cannot continue this interaction we've been having for years. And Russia withdrew from several regional organizations, and so this cooperation was really good. And sub-regional cooperation, many professional associations, but unfortunately, something what made us proud, so the fact that we had such resources and financial instruments, unfortunately, this has changed. And I have to agree with what was said by Mr. Popov. So the topic is becoming more and more relevant for our Baltic states and other states. So submerged, so that's the issue of submerged vessels and weapons. And so we are completely excluded from this effort. and all the actions are planned without any consideration of the opinion of the Russian experts. And so that could be dangerous for the entire region. And unfortunately, some joint initiatives which I mentioned, so please remember that such major impulse to develop cooperation. So this was our region. It's one of the initiators of this cooperation. So we had so many partner cities, that border on other states and the region, and but we're still working together, and we know that other projects are still taking place, still active, so we should continue our effort to ensure sustainable development in the region, disregarding the situation. We have such good potential, and so for future discussion, maybe in working groups, we could discuss possible spheres of interaction using the experience of Neighbors program. So there are three key elements of sustainable development: social, economic, and economical development. And so it's very difficult to find ways to develop the three spheres, and so many experts are now working hard, trying how to harmonize such a multifaceted approach. So here we should mention that in this context, so when we drafted this common plan to achieve goals of sustainable development, we included national projects up to 2024, and we found that some good coincidence where we could achieve synergy with sustainable development goals, and following the agenda and following that plan of strategic development. All the national projects, of course, are somehow integrated within the national and regional development plans, and we want sustainable development to become a framework for interaction. So that would be a perfect frame for cooperation. Well, this is my... Could you show my last slide? Last but one in my presentation, but it's gone. Okay. Because I actually wanted to draw your attention to my last slide. It's my favorite goal, goal number 14. I cannot see for some reason. It's not working. Okay, let me just tell you. So our beloved goal 14, with sustainable marine economy and sustainable development. Of course, businesses interact with the environment and impact the environment. And in order to improve the environment, it's necessary to improve all these sectors, all the spheres of economics. And here, in this slide, you may see how the goals of sustainable development can support each other. Helcon economic and social analysis demonstrates interaction between the ecosystem, the social and economic systems and strategies of regions and cities. And social and economic aspects in the region are now extremely important because to preserve the environment of the Baltic Sea and the society, the well-being and quality of life of the citizens and of future generations is absolutely obvious. And I would like to conclude my speech with a warning by Secretary General UN. If we don't try hard, we'll see more plastic in the sea by 2050 than fish. And of course we could be optimistic, but our focused effort is needed to prevent this situation. So let me wish you success with your forum and further discussion and future cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Daria Vladimirovna. And of course, all 17 goals of sustainable development, we constantly remember them. And goal 14, that's our most favorite one. But let me tell you that we do hope to restore full cooperation, international cooperation with all the active commissions and organizations. And as of today, Russian Federation still follows its obligations under various agreements and conventions. And to continue the discussion of plastic, if you don't know, maybe you've heard this plastic in one of the key topics. The key issues on environment protection. Russian Federation is working to develop a binding agreement to manage environment contamination with plastic debris. This agreement is developed by UNEP, which is an environment protection program. So work is complex, but it is in progress. In Canada, in this April, a 5th session was held of this project, and the next will be in November in South Korea. And Russia is paying attention to plastic waste, debris, and so many government agencies are involved, and as well as businesses, watchdogs. So we are still part of this process. So we do hope that, as before, we will continue the regional cooperation in the Baltic region. So this is the end of the plenary session, and according to the other tradition of our forum is to distribute Vernadsky Award, and so the Natural Resources Management Committee and Vernadsky Foundation at our forum, they work together in the field of environmental education, and today an agreement on environmental education will be signed. On behalf of Environmental Vernadsky Fund, the agreement will be signed by Olga Plamina, and on behalf of the government of the Russian Federation, so that task will be accomplished by Chairman Alexander German. Olga Vladimirovna's signature. Alexander Viktorovич's signature. And the parties will now exchange agreements. So we wish you good luck working together. Olga Vladimirovna will now distribute the awards of Vernadsky Foundation. This year we have 4 nominees. So first is Natalia Zhilnikova, professor and director of environment education, environment and technogenic safety of Spacecraft University. Welcome. Thank you. So next nominee Smirnov Nikolai Alexandrovich, head of Department of Cooperation of Emergency Response Service of Natural Resource Management Committee, Environmental Safety Committee. So the award will be picked up by his colleague. So third nominee I would like to invite is Pavel Glaskov, as presenter and correspondent of a candidate of biological sciences, works for TV channel St. Petersburg. Bomnikov Boris, head of Kaliningrad Center, Kaliningrad. Let me ask Maxim Nikitin to pick up the award and pass our warmest wishes. Thank you very much, Maxim Sergeyevich. Thank you, Olga Vladimirovna, for distributing the awards. I would like to thank all of you for your participation, for having such a good plenary session, which hopefully will give excellent momentum to our forum. Round-table discussions will start at 1 o'clock. So please know where your round-table discussions are. But before, please, all of you, please come to the staircase for group photo. Whoever wants to be in this group photo, please join us. We want you in this photo. Thank you. And remember to see the museum and environmental dictation, art objects, so many things to do. Thank you.